Okay, well, it says we are live. My stream status is saying bad still. So let me know if there's any issues. I mean, if for some reason YouTube or my internet isn't working for some reason tonight, I'll have to do this tomorrow. I don't want this to be a messed up just chat. So I want you guys to be able to hear what I'm saying and all that, and I want to be able to interact with you. The first thing I do want to say, though, is congratulations to Tennessee Tarantula. After smoking for 10 years, he has been smoke-free for 4 days now, and that's actually a big deal for anybody who's tried to quit. So congrats to him or her. I'm actually not sure if it's a guy or a girl. So I just wanted to say that first. The next thing I want to point out is the fact that I want to keep this stream civil. I know that this is a topic that gets very heated at times, and so I do have two mods right now in the chat. I'm not going to put up anything that's drama-wise, anything childish. If you want to debate, if you don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. I understand that a lot of people do not agree with my opinions on this, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that I'm actually going against what is, the common belief in this community. So, I mean, I expect people to not be agreeing with me. But I do have my opinions, and I have my points of view, and I just want to put them out there and just start a conversation. That's all this is about. I just kind of wanted to start a conversation on this that hopefully doesn't devolve, like I said, into drama or any other issue like that. So can everybody tell me in the chat, is it going good? Do I sound okay? So if you guys can let me know in the chat, I know there's a delay here. As soon as I know that it's okay, I want to give everybody kind of a second to get in here. We've already jumped up to 10 people watching. I just want to give everybody a minute to get in here. Okay, sounds good. That's good. So I'm sure many of you know that, some drama type stuff happened today. There was a debate going on in at least one video and some other places, and several videos have been made on this today because of it. I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to talk about the drama that's going on, any of that stuff. That's not the point. So what I want to get into is just to talk about common names and why I defend them all the time. Yeah, my mic is a little sensitive. I used to have a thing in front of it to stop that, but let me turn it down a bit and I'll push it away a little bit. Let me know if that helps. Hi, Mitch. I haven't seen you in one of my chats in a very long time. Okay, so as I was saying, like I said, I know this is like a sensitive thing. I just kind of want to get my points out there, and you guys are free in the chat, like I said, to argue, debate with me, and I will be trying to be responding to you. So my point, what I really want to make clear here, first of all, is that I'm not against scientific names. That's what everybody gets really defensive when I bring this up, and they start defending scientific names. And I'm not against scientific names. I don't think scientific names are perfect like some people think they are, or exactly the right way to go. So they said, sorry, I'm looking at the chat, guys, so I keep stopping to read it. I just don't think that they are as good as everybody says. I mean, I believe that the AVIC issue, avicular issue, proved that. You see that what happened over there is that we had all these scientific names, and then all of a sudden we don't have these scientific names, and now we have species that don't have names and got grouped into AVIC. And scientifically, we know that many of them are still a species of their own. They just haven't done the data yet. So now we're waiting for scientists to catch up with that and to get the data that they need to reclassify these, and if they are just morphs or if they are their own species. And so right now, those names, you're calling stuff AVICs that really aren't. So, I mean, how exactly right or how good are scientific names if they don't even think that they're right? And it's not just AVICs, avicularis. You go into other species, Pamphlevidia is a big one, I believe, that basically the whole thing needs to be redone. It's a constant one that I keep hearing, that most of them are not right. And you can get into other ones too. Brachypelma, they were also, as ones coming up a lot, they're not right. So there's stuff that you guys have that calling a scientific name that isn't even right. But yet the tarantula is still the same damn thing. You still have the same tarantula. The tarantula is not changing. It's just the scientific names and stuff that are changing. Casey, I completely agree that in the scientific community, it's much better that they're fixing these. I think it's great they're fixing these. That's what science is supposed to do. They're supposed to find their errors, and fix them, and evolve, and that is great. And I completely agree with that. And I don't have any problem with scientific names, as I said. If you're using them and all that, not a problem. So, yes, I don't have a problem with the scientific names. My point is that they're not right even. Like, there's many of them we know are not even right. We know most of the avics are not right. We know the Pamphiliovides are not right. We know several of the Brachypelma are having issues and they're changing. So how can anybody come to me and say that, oh, well, scientific names are right? They're not exactly right. So you can't even use them when you're talking about for breeding. Well, how do you even know if that is right by the scientific name, the genus, when they're changing that all the time anyways? Can anybody explain that part to me? You can't, because there's so many of them are wrong. To be fair, AVIX common names are just as messed up as the scientific names. Every AVIX needs to be sold as a common name, as being labeled as a pink toe. No, I do not see any of them being labeled where I am at as a pink toe. Okay, I see them all being labeled as AVIX right now. Seeing them being labeled as I never said people should use scientific names at all, Kat. Nope, never said that. I've said that many, many times in many, many arguments on this topic, that I don't have a problem with scientific names. I have a problem with everybody arguing that common names shouldn't be used and all these fake, made-up issues with common names. But my point is right now is that scientific names aren't as perfect as everyone wants to think they are. And then you have the issue when I've gone to shows and I've seen, I'm not even kidding, I have seen one person have a what was it, an AVIC. I'm not sure which AVIC it was, so that's obvious. It was labeled as a rose hair, as a Grammostola rosea. I mean, they're not even getting scientific names right because people have issues with them and they don't know what they have. Things are being imported right now under AVIC, and they're realizing, oh, it's just AVIC. Okay, is that a Metallica? What morph type is it? Does anybody even know what the other morph types are besides morph type 6? Not wrong, just type-specific species are lost and destroyed, and they can't... I know they've lost the data, Arachnids. I get they've lost the data, and because they don't have that data at the moment, they can't update the species, and so they just went and lumped them all in with AVICs. What is there, 8 of them or so that just got lumped in with AVIC because they don't have the data right now? And they're not even saying that when they did it, they just said they're nameless. They've recently, people have been putting them into the morphs. I haven't even seen that paper. So you're basically just lumping them in because they don't have a name. And so now how do you know that those aren't species? How do you know those are all actually just AVICs with morph types? What happens when you start breeding them together? So the scientific names are not perfect. Well, you think there is a misunderstanding because no one said to never use common names, just discuss the issue that arises with them. No one's saying that you can't use common names. Actually, anytime you come up and defend common names, just like today, which I'm not bringing up anybody who's in it, you get jumped on about it. You say it instead of a forum, you get jumped on. You use a common name, people jump on you to fix it and use the regular name. And that shouldn't be happening. I'm sorry, it just shouldn't. I see these common names, I see them every time. I look at it, I go, okay, I know exactly what that is. I can pull up the species right away, and there's like 6 people going, we don't know what that is. They say it's a Costa Rican straight knee, and they're like, oh, well, there's like 6 or 7 with straight knees. Yeah, but there's only one common name Costa Rican straight knee. We all know that's an Asamani. You know it. You're just being jerks inside the chats. So you all know what that common name is. Most of the common names are set. Not all. I understand that a lot of the common names need work, and that's more of my argument. And that's what I want to get to, actually, in this chat, is the fact that common names, other common names for pink toes. No, that's German. Are you talking on a German form ever? Because I'll get into the foreign names. I'm going to completely eradicate that concept from you. I'm sorry. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm going to get into the language barrier in a minute. I'm just talking about why scientific names aren't perfect like everybody kind of wants to defend them for. They have just as many issues and problems. Um, let's use a red knee for that argument. The red knee is actually set. It is actually one of the Brachypelmas. I don't feel like looking it up right now. I believe it is actually just the Hamori now. Changed to Hamori. So, I mean, that's a locked-in one. You're going to try to bring up the other Brachypelmas. They all have common names, too. They're all set. Everyone knows them, and you know them, too, Arachnids. Don't act like you don't know what the common names are for all the Brachypelma species. You know them. They are all set. There is no issue with those. And you're going to try to bring it up and say, oh, well, somebody's going to say that the Amelia or something like that. No, we know it's the Hamori. It's set. Don't... It's a bad argument. You're bringing up a bad argument. But my main thing is that no, there is no video for it. This is just an audio chat. Sorry, Deans. The purple balloon is actually one of the ones that I was just talking about that is having an issue with its own thing. That falls under the just going blank on that name right now. The genus that is completely messed up and actually needs to get fixed. So you wouldn't even know what you had if you had the genus name of that one. That's why I'm trying to make it clear right now, and you can't do it in a chat. You come off as kind of a jerk in chats. You get argumentative, and I feel like if I do it a live chat right now, and I get everybody wants to come in here and talk to me, we can understand what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with the scientific names. I just don't think they're perfect, and I think that there are many that want to be hobbyists. They don't want to get as into the stuff as everybody else. Like Ari brought up today that I use scientific names inside of my videos, and I do want to kind of learn the scientific names. I find it kind of interesting, but my argument and why I bring this argument up so much is that I feel that there's a lot of people that don't want to get that far into this hobby, that these common names would really just help that part of the hobby. Because you don't really, if you're not getting into all the breeding and all the thing, there's nothing wrong with using, even if you're using the breeding, okay, like I just said, a lot of the common names have problems. Yes, Pamphlevidius, thank you. That's what I was just saying. Pamphlevidius has a lot of issues in there. That's one that I've been told by several people that they're going to have to fix that soon, that the hobby is messed up what's what, and everything's kind of messed up with that one. They are perfect, but that's honestly really different than what was discussed on. Like I said, this is just as much about clearing up that drama issue and the argument and all that, cat. So like I just, if I said something that seemed like I meant something else, I didn't mean that. Okay, Iractus, you're right. Okay, B. Hamori and B. Smithy both have Mexican red knees. They're both because the Smithy was originally the red knee, and they just changed the name to Hamori, or they corrected it. Okay, I don't want to get into that. You did a video on that, and I understand the difference. But so they just re-clarify, hey, what you have is actually Hamori. So the Hamori is actually the red knee. Now Smithy, which is much more rare in the hobby, it probably doesn't really have a common name right now, and that's an issue. If you want to bring that up to an issue with me about common names, that's fine. But that will get me into what I want to talk about a little bit later. Is about common names. In fact, that they're not perfect either. I'm going to get into that too. I'm not trying to say, hey, common names are perfect. They're not. They have their issues. Scientific names have their issues. And I think that the clash of scientific names and common names is hurting the hobby. This argument, and as people come in and they get overwhelmed, I mean, it's hurting the hobby, and I just think it's something that needs to be discussed a little bit more than what it is, and not just instantly the common name people and the scientific name get defensive, and we're just yelling at each other, and nothing is happening. Nothing good. It looks bad. I mean, obviously, like, our debate today probably looked bad to a lot of people. And I just don't want that. We don't want that out there. We don't want people seeing that side of the hobby. We want to put a better face out there. And I think that common names are just a big issue that we have. So first thing I want to say is, the point I want to bring up about it is common names. Okay, I think pretty much everybody in this chat can agree that common names are an issue in this hobby. They're causing problems. Let's take it here. No one wasn't changed that they were separate. Smithy has been in the hobby way longer, and Hamori is used. Irregulars, from what I understand, you can't even breed those two together, from what I have been told. But that's not part of this discussion, anyways. But yes, when the name clarifications happened, from what I understand, what you're saying is that most of the stuff in the hobby was actually Hamori and it, not Smithy. So what you had didn't all of a sudden become a Hamori. It just always was, and it was just labeled wrong. If that's how I understand what you're saying. Either way, Smithy would need to be, and Hamori should be, whichever one is the common one in the hobby, which is Hamori, would be Red Knee. Smithy, which is less common, if I believe, nowadays, since nobody seems to have one, everybody seems to have Smithy, Hamori. It would need its common name fixed, and that's what I'm saying. Common names aren't perfect. I'm not ever trying to say common names are perfect. But what I am trying to bring up the point is that common names aren't going away. They're a problem in this hobby. They're not set in any way. People are all trying to use them. They're not going to stop using them. Okay? Stores aren't going to stop using them. New people are not going to stop using them. Many people I prefer them, although I do like learning the scientific names. And like I said, there's many people in the hobby that don't want to get that far into the hobby. They just want to own some pet spiders. They want to know what they have. They don't want to get into all that stuff. And so it's not going away. I'm not changing anything. This has been my opinion the whole time. Yes, I agree, Casey. Common names are chaotic and cause issues right now. But can you say, what's your fix for that? Just tell people not to use them? It's not going to happen. Go ahead, try to tell everybody, like they've been doing for the last how many years? 10, 20 years in this hobby. Don't use common names, they're bad. Has it worked? No. It is not going to work. You're not going to stop the use of common names. They're going to keep being a problem in this hobby. Don't want to learn proper care either. Oh, my problem is that I don't consider the scientific name the proper name. Proper care is one thing. Proper name is not. I'll argue the proper name on it. Because nobody uses a scientific name on any other animal, really, like, at all. So, don't tell me that what's a proper name. Because I'm just going to argue with what's a proper name. The only proper name for it is tarantula, or that's it. The Red Knees names, you can't just eliminate the name from the... No, my point is the fact that whatever was in the hobby, the common one in the hobby, Red Knee is Hamori. Everybody owns a Hamori. Everybody's been calling Red Knees Hamori. Yes, now that they split it up, and all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, there's Hamori and Smithy. Yeah, they need a separate common name. That's all I've said. I'm not... I'm trying to get to that point, and you're just trying to argue against common names. Let me get to my point. As I said, common names, I keep repeating it, are not going away. You're not getting rid of them. I mean, can any of you tell me that they're going out of any of these hobbies? Can you tell me that you're going to be able to stop common names from being used by pet stores? Are you going to stop it from anybody? Just by saying, don't use it? I mean, look at all the YouTube videos coming out. Common names are getting more and more commonly used in them and used next to scientific names. So if anything, they're actually getting used more in this hobby than they ever were. They're not going away. You're not getting rid of them. This is a problem. All of you say this is a problem. How do you fix it? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, Sarah. You can't... It diminished the amount of people. You can't. They've been trying that for 10 years, 20 years. How long have you guys been in the hobby? They've been trying it forever. Common names have been an issue forever in this hobby, and they're not going away. There's many people who are not going to stop using them. And as I said, as more you educate, the more, if you haven't looked, they're getting used more. Okay, I'm going to get to that too, Casey, in a second. They're getting used more. So you're already losing that battle. You've lost that battle. You're not going to get rid of common names by not using them. Good luck, area arachnids. Good luck. I'd like to see how you get everybody to stop using them. It'll never happen. Never. You can't win that. You'll never get them to stop using it. And you know it. You've been in this hobby long enough. You've been around. You've been on the boards long enough to know that they're not going to stop using them. So how do you fix the problem? That's just my argument. I want to know what your guys' solution is to fix this problem, since education and telling people not to use it isn't working. Look on YouTube, dude. Everybody's using them. Everybody's putting them alongside. Even look at like Tom Moran. He's even started trying to use the common names in all of his videos where he says stuff. So you want a source right there? Go look at his videos. He's starting using more and more and more, and he's not even for common names. He has a whole article. I've read it already on his points on it, and he still is trying to use them more and more. Why? Because they're not going away. People use them, and he's trying to cater to as many of them as you can. There's your source. Look around just YouTube. Why don't you go into any of these groups and watch how many times common names get used? It's more and more. And look up Google search. Just Google search any species. They all come up with common names, and they're all pretty much the common names. Okay, well, just say about half the people in this hobby, just to use a random round number, half the people, they don't want to be educated. They don't want to be that far in the hobby. They just want to be hobbyists. I just want to collect tarantulas. I don't want to have to learn all this stuff. I'm not going to be selling overseas. I'm not going to be breeding. I just want to have these 10, 20 tarantulas. I can look up their common names. I can get all the care for their common names very easily. So it's not a care issue. So you saying that you want to educate people and get rid of it is not working. And you know it's not working. Just look at the hobby. It's not getting better. These names aren't going away. If anything, they're becoming more and more close to standardized. They're not. So I still want to hear the argument of how you fix it. And don't say education because it doesn't work. It's failed. It doesn't work. You can say a number you want. There isn't going to be a research paper on how many people use it. Look in the community. I see this far more now than I've ever seen people using it. So, how do you fix it? Nobody's giving me an answer besides education. We don't use them in the tarantula community. Others do we? Well, you got somebody fighting it now, and I've had people come to me and actually thank me for actually standing up and saying this stuff. So don't think I'm alone in this. I'm just the only person willing to speak up and say it. Most people don't want to have the confrontation. They're not going to confront you inside of these groups and all of that, especially you area arachnids, who is well known in there and well known for like how much you know about this stuff and your knowledge. They're not going to argue with it. They're going to back down and go, okay, yeah, you have this. Or they'll go look up the common name, copy and paste it in. A lot of them do that. I did that for a long time. I just went, oh, well, you know what? Let's make all these people happy so they shut up. And I'll just go look up the common name. I copied the name and thing. I pasted it in there because I wasn't going to try to learn that. What did Dappy say? To be fair, you could Google some species names and get different species popping up. I have not actually had that issue until you start really going down more and more. Usually the first 3 or 4 hits is the right species on the common name that I look for. And like I said, I'm not saying common names are perfect. My argument is still the same thing, and nobody's answered my question yet. How do you fix it? Education isn't working. So can somebody here explain to me how you fix this? There's only one answer to it. Education failed. You can't educate people. You can't stop people. You can't force people to stop using them. So how do you fix this from being a big problem in the hobby? Yeah, they are going to continue to make it worse. How do you fix that? This is your hobby, guys. Everybody in here loves this hobby. You all love tarantulas. You're all collectors. You're all in here. This is a problem in your hobby. How do you fix it? That's my question. That's what I put out to everybody. I rarely see that, Casey Trent, but I actually have had to defend people twice now in the last few months at expos in Taylor, because somebody said a name and they said it wrong and they got made fun of, and I have stood and defended them. So it's not that it doesn't happen. It is rare, though. And when you do it inside of you do anything wrong inside one of these Facebook groups, you just get jumped on. We all know that. If people like me stuff, it's not going to happen, Erectus. So next question. We're not going to stop fighting it. There's so many more. All the pet stores out there are going to keep fighting it. There's so many new people. There's hobbyists out. They just don't care about your scientific names. So it's going to keep hurting the hobby. Don't tell me this to stop fighting it. Stop doing what you want. I don't have to do what you want. These people don't have to do what you want to the hobby to be how you want it. We don't have to do that. Just because you want it that way doesn't mean everybody stops and does what you want. That's the problem what you're seeing here. We all are individuals. We all make our own choices. If we want to use common names, if people want to, they're going to. So how do you fix it? And you can keep going around and around and around all you want. There's only one way to fix this problem. And you know it. Everyone out here listening right now knows how to fix this problem. Yet none of you're so stuck on these scientific names that you want to actually take a step back and look at the hobby and see how to fix your problem. That's how you asked for an answer. I gave it to you. No, it's the one that has failed you. You've done it for years. You can't tell me you haven't. Is it working? No, it's getting worse. You can't. The only way to fix it, since you guys all want to dance around it because you know the answer, the only way to fix it is to standardize scientific names like they are in every other hobby. Standardize common names. I don't care what the science is done a little differently. I understand why they use it for science purposes. There's no reason for using a hobby. You can use it. There's nothing wrong with it. But you don't have to have a hobby. The only way to fix it is to standardize common names like they are in any other hobby like this one. They've standardized it because that's what they had to do. It's the only way to fix that problem. And you all know that's the only way it's ever going to fix this problem is that when every common name is set to a species. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know how to fix that or how to make that happen. I don't. That's not the point I've been trying to make with the argument. My argument is that the only way to do it, ball pythons is ball python. You've already explained this, Arachnids. There is only one. It's ball python. Done. Why? Is ball python even their scientific name? It's not. Why don't you start calling every ball python by its scientific name? And then say what its morph type is. You don't. Why? Because ball pythons is just a common name. It's not a good one. Once again, let's bring up fish. Fish have more genus and more species than tarantulas. They do. So it's the best reference to it. And they have all switched to common names. They have no issues with it. There's some minor problems here or there. And most of the time when you get into it deep, when you really get into the hobby, you start learning scientific names because you choose to. You don't have to. It's because you choose to. Okay, see? No, there's a scientific name. I expect you guys all to start using Python Regis if that's what it is, because that's a scientific name. Stop using that common name. That's what you're saying. I said, let's look at the fish. Once again, that's like the best example. You can't say, oh, that's not the same hobby. You know, it's the closest hobby there is. It's the biggest pet hobby by a long shot. Like, a lot. They all use common names. And now, they use... And you can't go with the whole, well, they're not... you can't use English names. USA's taking over. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. No. Fish use common names because till you're selling to somebody in another country, that means you have a license to do so. Then you may have to learn the stuff a little bit farther in. But for a hobbyist, you don't need it. No, Irregdis, I'm using it as the closest example to our hobby. It has fit every criteria that we do, from it being the biggest hobby, being the fact they have all their boards online just like we do. They communicate every country just like we do. I love how you go to the blue tang thing. You know what? If I'm a person buying a regular thing, I'll go buy a blue tang. If I'm somebody who wants to get a little more into it, maybe I'll know the difference between the two. And all the blue tanks I've ever seen are exactly the same in every pet shop. So I don't. Anyway, still, you're trying to find one minor issue inside of the fish thing. That's if that's the best you got, it's not a good argument. Fish, like I said, are the biggest one. They deal with language barriers. Okay. If you're buying angelfish, if you're buying zebra dinos are like the most common fish you can buy in a pet store. If I'm selling it overseas, how do I do that with the blue dino thing, huh? I mean, it's set. It's a set common name. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say zebra dino. Anybody that's ever been to a pet store has seen zebra dino. That's not their scientific name, yet they sell them overseas, no problem. They sell to people with a language barrier, no problem. They talk online without a problem. They talk in forums without a problem. So where is your argument? That literally just kills every argument out of the tarantula community that has against common names not being possible. They've already proved it works in a hobby that's bigger and is actually more worldwide than tarantulas are. Yeah, it's a problem, but you know what? It's still the biggest hobby. Yeah, you know what? There's always going to be problems. I said there's problems with common names. I said there's problems with scientific names. None of them are perfect because they keep changing. They keep having issues. But they have standardized the fish one. People can get into that hobby. People can be in the hobby and be hobbyists. They don't have to be like professional fish keepers. They can go on forums and talk, and there isn't an issue. So why is that an issue for tarantulas? Why all of a sudden is this language barrier an issue for tarantulas? Yet I get onto a fish forum and say, I have a tank of zebra dinos, I have this many in there. They'll be able to tell me if that's too many for the tank, anything about it. They don't sit there and go, wait, what's the scientific name for that? They don't do it over there. I've been over there. I have fish. I've talked over there. It's not an issue. Yet there is more species over there, more genus over there, more people in it, more worldwide. They do the breeding. They sell nationwide. So if they can do it, if there isn't a problem over there like that, tell me why it is that you can't do it with tarantulas. Why is it not possible if they could do it with a bigger selection of animals, a bigger community, they could standardize that. Why is it impossible for tarantulas? It's not. They don't have the same issues. I can go right now and walk into a pet store and buy anything I want, and I don't have to know any of these common names. I don't need to know any of this. They literally walk in there. They have the little aggressive, non-aggressive thing on there. It's all simple, easy to do. I can go in and have a hobby. I can get a fish tank. It's not I have to get into the hobby and research and deal with everybody. You don't have to. Yes, you know what? Pro beta keep. You know what? You can keep a beta, and if you really want to get into it, then you can learn all the different betas there are. But you don't have to, do you? You can go buy a beta, and nobody's going to sit there and go, what kind of beta is that? Is that a crown tail, or is that a sunfin? What is that? They're not going to do it. That's my point. Yeah, Tony D's like, I already brought up the avicularia thing, man. Scientific names are not correct for, like, any of the genus. They're all seem to be messed up. Scientific names aren't even right. So that's my point is still, like, nobody here is giving a good argument to why, if it works for that, a bigger pet community, and it works, they use common names. Yeah, you know what, there's some issues here and there. I'm not even going to say there's not. I can't argue that. But if it works for them, why can't it work over here? Why can we not standardize it? Why can't I walk into a pet store and buy a red knee and know that that is a Brachylepella humore and that's it? And know that if I go in there and I buy a Versicolor, or what do they call it? Caribbean, whatever, Versicolor. I walk in and say I want that. I know what it is. It's not an issue. Like, why can't we get to that point that they're standardized? That's my argument. They're evolving because they're wrong. They literally are coming out saying, we got this wrong because we didn't have enough knowledge and we are fixing it. They're wrong. That's all there is to it. And not only are they wrong, we like look, avicularia is like the big one right now. Look at it. It is. I never look up the common name for versicolor because I just call it a versicolor because it's got just a simple name that I don't remember what the first thing is though. Am I buying blind if I go into a store and I buy a zebra dino, Erectus? Explain that to me. Am I buying blind if I go in there and buy a zebra dino? I don't know its scientific name. Am I buying blind? I want to know that. Yes, you're wrong. It is the Antilles pink tail. By the way, thanks for looking that up and proving that you can just look up the common name, the correct one. But Iractids, I want your answer. If I go to a store and buy a zebra dino, am I buying it blind? It's a set common name. It's set right to that. You know what you're buying. Why can't you do the trade? You can't do it at the moment. No, you can't do it at the moment because the names aren't set. They're not perfectly set. I don't think they're out to get me at all. Stop trying to project that stuff on me, man. It's not going to work. Most people just call it Versi. Nobody calls it by the first part. Most people don't even call it Versicolor. And most people just call it Versi. You can put Versi up there. I don't know what the hell it is. Goliath Bird Eater. Okay, you want to bring up the Goliath Bird Eater again. Okay, let's talk about the Goliath Bird Eater. They all have different common names. And if somebody sells you one that says Goliath Bird Eater and they have the wrong common name on it, that's just as wrong as if I had the wrong. I could take a T Sturby and I could take a T Blondie and I could switch their common names and sell them, their scientific names and sell them to you. What do you do now then? So I say I have a T Sturby and I'm going to sell it to you as a T Blondie. What do you do? No, I don't need to get off Fish. You're just trying to get me off the argument because you can't argue it. You know you're wrong. Fish is the most comparable thing to us. It proves that we can do everything in this hobby. Stop trying to get off there. You can't argue by saying that. You just go, get off Fish. I don't want to look at it. No, don't look. No, I'm sorry. It just disproves everything that you're saying. It proves that common names are possible. They can be set, and they aren't a problem. And my problem is, okay, so now I switch them up, and I tell you that I'm selling you a T Sturby because I want to get more out of it. You buy a T Sturby, take it home. How do you know the difference? Explain to me how you know the difference. How do you know what you have? I don't care if you do Fish. I'm explaining it to you right now that hobby works just fine with common names. So it's actual evidence and proof. It's been done. It proves everything you're saying wrong. That's why you don't want to do Fish. I'm arguing an example. You may not like the example, and you may not want me to talk about it, but I'm going to keep telling you that example. It's just proof right there. It's been done, it's been tried, it's been tested, and it works. Like it or not, it works. Yeah, Connor, that's what I'm trying to say is that it needs to be standardized. That's the issue with it, and that until it's standardized, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a problem in the hobby. That is my whole argument. It's not my job to educate you on the fish hobby. I'm explaining to you that this is a giant pet community, bigger than ours, has all the genus, all the species. It does breeding, it does international trade, it does every argument that you guys bring against me, and it does it with common names. And they're standardized. That's my point. As I said, I don't have an issue with people using the scientific names and learning and getting more and deeper into the hobby and loving this hobby. I don't have a problem with that. That's not what I'm arguing here at all. I'm arguing that this hobby has a problem. And this problem is not going to be solved by saying, educate yourself. Go learn. Yelling at people on forums that they should know better. That what are you talking about? I don't know what this is. When they damn well know most of the time what it is. Because people like you are fighting it. That is my point. You out there fighting it so much, telling everybody not to use common names, not to learn them. Don't standardize this because you don't like them and you think they're broken, and they are broken. I'm not arguing with you that they are broken. Yes, and it doesn't matter for them. 9 different species for that. Zebra dinos. First of all, zebra dinos aren't 9 different species, anyways. The ones you buy in the pet store are all one species. I know because I put them together all the time. But anyway, and I said I've gone into forums. I said I have zebra dinos, and they go, okay, well they're this big, and you can put this many and this many gallon tank, and it's not an argument. It doesn't happen on their forums. I'm not fighting scientific names. I just said, so you're already wrong. I said they're fine. You can use them. I pointed out they have issues. They're not perfect, but go ahead, they're good. If you want to get into it and you want to get into that scientific aspect, use it. So that's not a good argument, Casey. I've already said that scientific names are not a problem. My problem is that you're fighting against common names like you can get rid of them. Oh, Jesus. People like to change words. It's easier to lie and call it a red knee or a fire knee than calling it a Hamora. It is much easier. It is. It's much easier, and that's why common names exist. People don't want to get into the scientific names. They don't want to learn that. They don't need to want to learn all the parts of a tarantula. They don't need to. And that's why they feel, and they're not going to change. It's going to keep happening. It's not going to go away. Everybody's arguing as if scientific names are just going to go away if we argue against them. If we tell everybody, you don't know what you're doing, go do it. We're going to guilt you all that if you don't go learn it, you just don't want to be part of the hobby. You don't want to put the time and effort in. I love that one. I got used on me so much. I think it's funny. It's a weak argument to say that, oh, you just don't want to learn them. You know what? I shouldn't have to. I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a scientist. Shouldn't have to. There's these common names. Everyone wants to use them. Why not fix them? Guess I'm saying it's not true. It's not. They work just fine. You want to go to a pet store? I'll walk in there with you. I'll go buy what I want, and I can tell them what I want, and there's no issues. I can walk back home, go onto a forum, tell them, hey, I got this and this and this, and nobody's going to be on there telling me, oh, what's the species? I want to know which. They don't happen. So I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You're just saying that I'll present you with the evidence, which you didn't, because I already just said it was wrong, and then you say, sorry, man, this isn't a debate, but you're just because you can't prove me wrong. I give you the largest example of why this is, and you're just. And as I said, you still haven't told me how to fix the common name issue. If it's not standardizing it, education doesn't work. Yelling at people doesn't work. Making fun of people, criticizing people on forums doesn't work. They're not going away. So what is your suggestion on how to fix it? That's what I'm waiting on. Of course you think it was my doing. I made one snide comment on a thing and it blew up. But yeah, it's okay. And yes, I am going to argue my points if somebody argues with me. I have absolutely no problem with that. He's pointing out that the common names have an issue. He wants to be fixed. It's not perfect, but it can be improved by a community working together instead of it just refusing to use it. Yes, thank you, Dev. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying scientific names are bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't get that far into it. None of that. That's not part of my argument. My argument is the fact that common names aren't going anywhere. And the only way to fix it, the only way to make this hobby better, make it more inviting to people, make it easier for people to come in, learn the common names, shift over to the scientific names if they want to learn them. It's a much more inviting atmosphere. You don't get these issues on the forums with everybody yelling at everybody. You don't have these problems. Pretty cool image known as the orange baboon. Distribution is due to the identification. That is the exact issue we're having to prevent. If you're doing distribution and you don't know what you're distributing, you're actually already illegal. Just so you know. You're not allowed to move. Hey, Boxing Boa. You're not allowed to transport stuff across the lines, state lines, national lines, unless you know what it is. That's a different level. So I already said that, you will need that for that stuff. I said there isn't a problem with learning scientific names if you need it as part of the hobby. Me going into a pet store, well, not me, anybody going to the pet store and wanting to buy traits and start getting into buy a couple of them, shouldn't be chased out of the hobby because they don't want to learn what you think they should learn. If they want to get more into it, cool. You should be inviting and helping them learn them, yes. Distribution says, I don't know what you're saying, that wasn't English. Would you even have happened if your Stein remark had never spoken? It wouldn't, and I love the argument, which is quite apparent. Ari, you keep arguing with me everywhere. You're here in my chat arguing with me. You made a video arguing against me today. So what's your point? I think you like to argue. I mean, I've seen you on the forums too. You on these boards, groups. You like to argue with people, tell everybody they're wrong and stuff. So, okay, I'm still waiting for you to prove my point wrong instead of trying to attack me, though. Yes, I like to argue. I have no problem debating. I love debating. Okay, I said it. Now prove me wrong. I see Casey trying to look up a bunch of stuff talking about disputing from area, but it doesn't even, what he said doesn't make sense. Yeah, Box, but I don't have an issue with scientific names. I said a lot earlier. I keep having to say it. I don't have a problem with scientific names. I mean, unfortunately, that is what the hobby has to revolve around now because people have fought against common names so much that they're still broken. Although they are becoming more and more standardized. And every time I present evidence, you disregard it. What's your point? I literally show you a whole hobby that's still currently working with common names. And you still... Where is your evidence where's your argument to how to fix common names? No matter what you're saying, I'm not saying they're ever perfect. I'm sitting up here right now saying it. They're not all perfect. So you're going to pull these little things, problems. Okay, yeah, they're problems. Good. You proved some problems with common names. I've proved problems with scientific names. I've already stated them. Okay, so nothing's perfect. How do you fix the problem? I don't need to disprove science. It's not part of my hobby. I'm not a scientist. Are you a scientist? Do you have any sort of a degree that says you're a scientist, Arachnids? You don't. I don't need to get into science. I don't need to know that. That's my point. If I don't want to get that far into it, I don't have to learn the scientific. Do you think I need to learn, okay, because it's science, what all their parts are, I should have to learn that? I mean, it's part of the hobby, right? I should know every piece of a spider, the whole anatomy, right? Because that's science. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know the scientific name either. No, I said common names are standardized and they work. They work across national lines. They work. Is there problems? There's problems with everything, man. You're literally trying to pull up these little... You're looking at these little problems. You go, oh, look, this is the reason why common names don't work. I just showed you reasons why scientific names are all messed up and they're causing problems in the hobby. Am I saying that means that scientific names shouldn't be used, that they're wrong? No, I'm saying that they have problems, that every genus needs to be reordered and refixed. Okay? I'm giving you these problems, and you're ignoring them. You haven't stated anything on them. You're ignoring the evidence I give you that scientific names aren't perfect. But I'm not up here saying that you shouldn't use them. That's the difference. And now I'm saying that common names, I'm up here clearly stating common names have problems. Even if you fix them both, even if you perfectly fix and standardize common names, there's still probably going to be issues on both sides. There's just going to be. The problem I'm trying to get through to you is that common names aren't leaving. You're never getting rid of them. They're not leaving this hobby. So either you're going to standardize them and make them work as best as you can. I'm not saying perfect. I'm not saying it's It's the only way. I'm not saying that, any of that. I'm just saying that until you standardize it, it's going to be a problem. You need to, instead of fighting it and trying to that you're losing this battle. Your education isn't working, harassment isn't working, intimidation isn't working. All the stuff I've seen in forums isn't working. It's not. They just keep coming with the scientific names. How do you fix it? You don't have to know both, but you can know both. Once they're fixed. Right now, you almost have to learn the scientific names because, honestly, common names are still messed up. Like I said, I'm not arguing that they work right now. My argument is the fact that there is a problem in this hobby, and it needs to get fixed, and everybody just wants to say, oh, well, I don't like common names, just don't use them. Just don't use them. Well, you know what? There's a ton of people that want to use them, and they're causing a problem, like as you stated. Just tell them not to use them. It doesn't work. Well, now what? How do you fix it? I'm not saying how to standardize it. I've literally come out and said that. I'm stating the problem. I'm stating that the only solution I've seen is to standardize it. You need the discussion to start, area arachnids. You have to start the discussion, and that's what I'm trying to do. Until we start talking about the fact that this needs to be fixed and that this is the only way to fix it, it's not going to get there. No one's going to figure out how to standardize it. Well, I can't say I don't see you offering a solution besides argue with me. You're so hard trying to prove me wrong, but you haven't done it. But you're not offering solutions. I'm sitting up here offering a solution. This is what needs to happen to fix the company problem. So I'm offering a solution. You may not like it. It may not even be right. But I want to start the conversation of this is a solution to fix the common name problem. I don't know. I'm just trying to start the conversation, Your Arachnus. I already said that. I'm not saying I have all the answers, and you don't either. That's my point. My point is that this conversation doesn't start. If you don't actually start the conversation and get this going on how to fix common names, it's not going to happen. So they're going, we're sticking with the old education. No, tell them not to do it. Doesn't work. It's not working. It hasn't worked. It's never going to work. You've tried it. It's been done. It doesn't work. So I ask you again, how do you fix the common name issue? Every way you want to do it has already been proven. Many times it doesn't work. Over and over throughout the last, how many years has this hobby been a thing? 20 years? Something like that? Granted, it's not as old as some of the other hobbies, like the fish hobby as I was talking about. Maybe because it's been around longer, they managed to get to that point. But if you don't start talking about this, it's never going to get fixed. If you don't just say, oh, you don't educate, it's wrong, don't do it, that's not working, so what's next? If you have a better idea for how to fix the common name issue, bring it up. This is a discussion. That's what I want to talk about. But no one's talking about it. Everyone's just saying, oh, don't do it. I haven't heard you come up with a solution yet. I'm offering a solution. I'm putting this out there and saying it needs to be talked about. That the only way to fix the common name issue is to standardize it. And it's not a perfect solution, but it is a solution. That's the problem. Biologists who spend years in the classroom in the field are naming them. So should we say, hey, idiots, we want common names? No, they are scientists. They're not part of the hobby. Good for them. I don't give a crap what the scientists over there doing. I'm a hobbyist. I don't care in the slightest what they're over there doing. I'm a hobbyist. I went to a pet store. I'm buying some. That's it. I don't care what they're doing. They need those names for their scientific purposes. You're not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. What's your point? If they have their reasons for doing it, they want to do it that way. That's how the scientific community wants to work. We are not the scientific community. We don't have to stick with those names. And the people aren't. I mean, people just aren't doing it. They're not agreeing with you. They're not doing it. So, and no way you've had to try to fix this and get everybody using the same name has worked. So, how do you fix it? I'm gonna keep having to repeat this up here, which is pretty bad. But nobody's come up with an answer. Everybody's throwing all this stuff at me But I don't know how long people have been collecting teas. I've heard different things. I know it's not as old as a hobby as far as like an actual collecting. And there is a problem. It's done to identify them, plain and simple. Good. Okay, good. Scientists have identified them. You have a hobby that has common names. How do you fix it? I don't care about the science. I don't care about the scientific names. I'm not talking about them. I don't care about them right now. They don't matter in this conversation at this point. This point is, there are common names. They're in your hobby. They are running rampant. They are becoming more standardized. If you haven't noticed, half the chat isn't actually agreeing. Most of the chat say use both. Okay, late 60s. Okay, I've heard less of that. Okay, but I'm going to default to you on that. Late 60s. Okay, so we've had this for 40, 60 years. And common names have been in it for about 60 years, I bet you. They've been a problem, and education isn't fixing it. When do you stop with that and try to find a better solution for a problem in the hobby? Then you give it a new one. How is that hard? Why is that even an argument? Oh my god, we found a new species. Oh hey, let's give it a common name and put it inside of the circulation. No, my point is the fact that right now common names aren't standardized. They're not set. I've seen Brachypelmas name the wrong genus. Okay, I've literally seen them name the wrong genus at places. And I'm not that educated on it. I can tell that, hey, that's not the right Brachypelma. Because I've seen Amelia has the other one. I'm bad with scientific names, obviously. Amelia and the other one that has almost 4 red legs. I've seen them mixed up at places, and I can tell the difference. And then you have the also problem is the fact that anybody in the hobby, that's much in the hobby, is going to look at a Brachypelma and know which is which. I'm not even in the hobby that much. Like, I'm newer to it, and I can still go to a show, look at Brachypelma, and tell you the difference between them because they're obvious, except for Hamori and Smithy, who look really close, and even I can pretty much tell you the difference between them now. I've been doing it online. Visual is how you tell them apart. Not a name. What happens if somebody switches up the name and puts a different scientific name? What do? It doesn't fix anything. I'm not dumbing anything down. You're trying to avoid the actual root of the argument. You're not giving me an answer. How do you fix it? And don't tell me education hasn't worked. So what's your answer? What is your grand solution to this problem of common names? That's what I want to hear. You're in here arguing with me. You're trying to act high and mighty. You know all this scientific stuff, and scientists know everything. How do you fix the problem in your hobby? What is your solution for it? What are you putting out there to fix this problem besides pushing more of the same problem? The scientific names, you can say anything you want about scientific names. You can say you can standardize, you can fix. They're not going anywhere. I'm not saying they're just kick them out. They need to be fixed too, obviously, and scientists are doing that. They're doing their job. They're fixing the problem with scientific names. What's the hobby doing with our names? I already said standardization. That is my answer. That's the only way to fix it. They're not going away. If you do not set standard names to species, they are always going to be a problem. You're always going to go and find stuff labeled wrong completely. You don't see a problem with the common names in there. You think common names are fine. All these issues that you just threw at me with common names, you're saying there isn't a problem now. Really? That's your answer. You just threw all this problems with common names at me, and at the end of it, you're like, oh, I don't see a problem. That's not... Yes, it is a problem. You know it is. Honestly, I don't have an issue with the subject at hand. I do a lot of vending, school, and organizational presentations. That's cool. Usually with visual aids. Yeah, I have pauses trying to remember common names, but otherwise no issues. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with common names to scientific names to what I have either. I just don't. It's very rare. It's usually the stuff that I do have problem with is the stuff that isn't as common in the hobby, so the common names haven't been used as much, and there's still kind of an issue with them. Which, once again, if you standardized all of them, there's not an issue. Common names are messy. We must fix. I don't know how, but must fix. It's up to the hobbyists to fix common names. It is. This is a scientific thing. Who cares about the scientists? We are the hobby have to fix a problem in our hobby, and that is common names. If somebody has a better solution, that's perfectly fine. Bring it up. I love to hear it. I just want to start the conversation. That's all I'm doing. I'm not coming here to say that I know the answer exactly either. Oh, because I don't use them. I can defer to them for newer keepers. I always use scientific names first. That's good for you. You could use them all. What about everyone else in the hobby? It's not all about you. John's done videos on this and why it can be a problem in some of the older videos. We should talk about it here and there. I just, Bugsy Bo, I just think this is something that needs to be talked about. I think it's a problem. I think common names are an issue in the hobby right now, and I think it needs to be fixed. And instead of sitting around going, "Oh, you know what? You should just educate it," or "Is it a problem?" I'm trying to bring up the conversation. And if you have a better idea, I'm all ears. That's what I'm opening for. So start the revolution, Phil. You see to have the idea, you know. Yeah, personal attacks, man. Good job, Dave. Love it. Let's leave this. You can't argue your point, Dave. You've lost your argument completely. And now you're just going personal attacks, start the revolution. Yeah, that's really, really helpful. See, this is the problem that happens on forums in these groups is people doing what you did right there. That's just what pushes people out. That's why there's gatekeepers. That's why people call you an elitist. That's why, right there, because of that attitude right there. Here I am, just trying to have a discussion and to say, hey, this is a problem. This is my solution that I have for it. It's not perfect, and I don't know how to implement it. But hey, I've done it in groups. I've had this argument with up to 30 people in a chat. And you know what happened at the end of it? They all agreed that if names were standardized at the end of it, things would be better because that would fix the problem. At least most of them did. They also, yeah, you know what? I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't see how you could do it. And I agree with that. I don't see. I don't see how you could actually fix it. Like I said, I'm not saying how to standardize it. One guy with a YouTube channel isn't going to standardize it. But you know what? I can start a conversation. I can get all you people in here talking. Hopefully it'll continue on to other places. And maybe something will, you know, pop up and it'll keep going. It'll start something. I don't know. Maybe it won't. No, that was a personal attack, Dave. I'm sorry, but it really was. You're just trying to. You've done a couple of them here now. You don't like my argument. You have some issue with me, and you're doing personal attacks. I'm not personally attacking you in any way. I don't have. Yeah, you know, I've done this enough time. I'm doing it right here, right now, and I've done it with you. We were in your group, and by the end of it, by the way, I wish I could say that you agreed that if it was standardized, it would be better. God, I wish I had that saved because you literally said to there like, yeah, it's never gonna happen, but if it was standardized, it'd be better. You said that, and that was in the YouTube community one, not the YouTube, the Tarantula community one that you started, and we got that big debate in there. At the end of it, you literally said, yeah, if it was standardized, it would be better, but you're never gonna be able to do it, and I agree with that. Yes, I am calling you that, Dave. You are an elitist. You are a gatekeeper. Anytime I bring this up, you start attacking me on it. And so, yes, I'm calling you out on that. I don't care. You're in here doing personal attacks on me. I will do them back to you. And yes, you are. Number are pretty good. Link to common names, scientific names. You can think what you want, Dave. You are. Every time it comes up, you sit there and you attack anybody on it. So, And the stuff you said tonight is actually very much elitist. You're very much some of the people that you've complained about in the forum, saying that they attack people and make it hard for people to join this forum. You're very much one of them. You try to do it in a little different way. You're not as much of a jerk coming and doing it, but you just sit there, you still do it, and you berate people about it. No, I've already said, Kat, several times today that this isn't about scientific names. I only brought the issue with the scientific names to prove that they actually do have issues, that they're not perfect. But they're part of the hobby. They're here. They're not going away. And if people want to learn them, they're fine. I'm not even mad. That's what I find funny. Just uses you rage? This isn't raging. I've gotten mad on streams. I've yelled and all that. This isn't... I'm actually quite enjoying this little debate. There's no debating with me because you're not winning. You haven't debated me once, Kat. You've done nothing but personal attacks every time it's come up. You think I haven't seen your comments over there? Oh, one man island over... Yeah, I seen it. That wasn't a debate. That wasn't you arguing with me. That wasn't you talking to me. That was a personal attack type of thing. So... I didn't skip over any name stuff. Okay, if you do, fine. I'll admit right now, that was a mistake. I was busy at work today, so if I said something in error, it was an error. I'm glad you have that screenshot and sure you're posted around places. No, he isn't giving a different opinion. He's literally not. I've been asking for a different opinion, and he hasn't given me a different opinion or a different option or saying like a different way to fix the problem. So, Kat, I don't care if you want to get along with me or not. Like I'm just don't. And I'm not here to do personal attack crap anyway, so if people don't want to talk about the issue of common names, we can end the stream. Dave, you like to say a lot of things in little ways, so you're not literally calling somebody a name, but they're like, oh yeah, go start the revolution. All the little comments you've been making here. You think people don't see that? Everyone sees it. I'm just more open about it. I didn't attack him. Nothing personal there. I came out and made a comment about common names. He replied to me, and we and him could have went back and forth and had a decent debate. You came in there and said a bunch of snide comments, too. Anyway, like I said, yeah, this is getting personal. If you guys going to keep doing anything like that, if you don't want to talk about the thing, we can end the stream. But I'm not replying to any more of the personal stuff. Yeah, I was... My comment that I put to Eerie Arachnids in there, it was more of a joke. It was like, oh, yeah, you know, that's why they don't work. I didn't even want to start a conversation. I wanted to just leave a comment and walk away. If that's what you're talking about with my comment earlier, Boxy Boa. What he was saying earlier, he's been saying to me for a while. Like, it just keeps building up. And he makes all these little comments. I'm not dodging you. I don't need to dodge you. Oh, don't end the stream. Your voice is getting... I'm not even getting mad, which I think is funny. People want to use the common names, let them, but I'm sure they know the science. Debbie, why do I have to know the scientific name? I shouldn't have to if I don't want to get into the science part of it. That's kind of my point. And there's many people that don't. And that's more what I'm up here arguing about for them. And my argument is still the same argument I've had. The argument is the fact that the Tretch community has this issue with common names. and no one's giving anything to fix it. I'm just starting a conversation on this is how I think you could fix it. And only thing that's come out of it is nothing. Like, I don't know. At the moment, you need the scientific name for a backup because the common names aren't set. You do. Yeah, Dappy, I completely agree with that. Because that's the problem. If the common names were set, were more standardized, you wouldn't have to have that. It wouldn't be such an issue for the normal hobbyist. Like I said, and they're not, my argument is still, they're not going away. You can hate them on common names all you want. Hate on them all you want. They're not going anywhere. Either they get better, they get standardized, they become somewhat useful and accurate, or they just don't at all. Or they just stay the same problem. Yeah, boxing ball. But as you got into the hobby, you wanted to learn more, correct? So you start learning more and more and more. Is that what you're saying? Because that's perfectly what I'm saying we kind of need. There's nothing wrong with the scientific names. There's nothing wrong with wanting to know more. My point was just that these common names are a problem. They're not standardized. They're confusing everybody. They're not going away. You can't get people to stop using them. The only way to fix them that I know of, and that's all I'm just putting out there. I don't know how to make it happen. I don't know everything. I'm just saying that this is my opinion, that the only way to fix the common name issue is to standardize them. Really, until we have a good index of L number scientific names should be encouraged. We don't need to force anybody to use them. We just need to make sure they're easy. Idea spider. Yeah, I really do think that they really need to fix the scientific names too, and get that all completely organized and stuff like that. I think they're doing good work on that, and I'm fine with that. I think the biggest thing is they are hard to say, which is why I use common names and why others like them. Yeah, they are much easier to say. It makes it much easier for somebody to get into the hobby and start using them until they work their way up to using the scientific names, if that's how the hobby keeps going. The problem is that the scientific names are there. The common names are there. People are using them, and many of them are wrong because they're not standardized. They're not going away. Why not fix them? They are much easier to remember. Until you really get into it and use those scientific names constantly over and over and over and over, you're not going to remember them. And you're not going to remember all the kind of the weird ones that you remember somebody said. Oh, somebody said that. Oh, I can't remember that damn scientific name because, it's so hard to... It's annoying. You literally have to write down everything. No, I'm not that into science at all. I'm not saying I'm into science. That's one of the things. I'm not a scientist. I don't care about the scientist aspect of the hobby. Spider Woman, okay, I asked you how are common names going to work when there are one common name for like 3 or 4 different tarantulas. First of all, I don't see that in the hobby. I keep seeing that brought up as an argument, and I don't see it. When I look up a common name, I usually find one tarantula. But I understand that, okay, if that's an argument, that's not a good response to it. My response to that is, if you standardize the common names, every tarantula by species and genus would have its own common name. I'm saying that it's an issue now. It's not working right now. It's a broken system. But if you standardize it, they wouldn't have one common name for 3 or 4 tarantulas. You'd have one common name per tarantula, and everybody would know it. Yeah, see, I'm saying that that's a problem that needs to be fixed, is what I'm trying to clarify, Spider-Woman. I don't see that. I see people talking about it. I don't see it. I mean, it comes up a lot. The only time I see it is like pink toe with like Avix, but Avix are so messed up that I don't know. See, I haven't had a problem with the purple bloom. I had a purple bloom, and I used to know what the species and genus was of that, and it wasn't like an issue. It is a broken system right now. I mean, look at Avix. Right now, there's like, what, how many AVICs that they just went, you don't have a name. Because we haven't had time to classify you yet. We haven't had all the stuff yet. So we're just going to shove you inside of AVIC. There you are. You're just in there. We know you're probably different species, but we're just going to shove you in there. And everybody calls them AVICs now. And then they're going to fix those eventually because they are supposed to be working on them more. And then all of a sudden, they're going to be other species again. So now you're going to have to... Why does a hobbyist who's not into science have to know all this stuff? They don't. It's not part of a hobby. Yes, I was saying the system right now is broken. Yes, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use them. I'm saying that they are currently working on fixing this broken system. The scientists are working on fixing that. That's what's going on over there. They're doing all the DNA testing. They're working to fix the problems that they had. Scientists are doing what they should be doing, and I'm not arguing that that's wrong. I'm arguing that that confuses a hobby, massively confuses a hobby. It makes it much harder to know what you have, what's being imported or exported at the moment. So that's my argument. Is just that scientific names aren't perfect like people think they are at the moment. They're a problem, and they are fixing them. So why don't we, as a hobby, start working on fixing the names that we use? If you like them or not, they're not going away. Yeah, I know, Boxybo. They're working on them. My point is that right now we have like 6 tarantulas that don't have a name still. I mean, technically, if you want to go by scientific name, they really don't have a name. The last I heard on them, although I heard something about they added them as morphs to AVIC, but the only one anybody ever is able to tell me is morph type 6. So where's the other 5? Where's the paper on that? That's not out in the hobby. It's not easy to find. But like I said, I'm not trying to bash scientific names here. So my goal is my goal with talking about scientific names is only to say that, hey, they're not perfect, but they're working on them. So that's not my issue. Scientific names, they're working themselves out. But as a hobby, we have these common names. They're not going away. So if us as a hobbyist could have one common name for one tarantula, that would work. But how do you agree on the common name that goes to what tarantula? That's where the issue hits a wall, Spider-Woman. And that's why, like I said, I'm just trying to start a conversation. Maybe somebody else will have a better idea on how that works. That is where, if you want to say, hey, that's the argument that stops my argument right there. Because I don't know how to get that going. How to start standardizing. The only way that I see to start standardizing them is to start using them more. Stop fighting them. Start using them a little more. Start standardizing them. Start making them a common use in the hobby. Don't fight people that use them. Maybe you can correct them. Say, hey, did you mean this? Okay, well, okay, that's fine. Because right now they're not set. So if somebody says, hey, I got this. I'm like, hey, do you mean this? And they can go look it up. Go, oh, yeah, that's what I have. Okay, well, that's that. Okay. But instead of going, hey, that common names for like 6 different things. What are you talking about? Why are you using common names? I've seen people over there. I've seen guys, YouTubers from the UK, and a lot of them don't just use the scientific names. A lot of them use common names. Now, I don't know if it's just because they're on videos and they're trying to put it out there as, to help newer people or to help with viewers, that kind of thing, and they don't actually use. I don't know. But I've seen more and more YouTubers using them and trying to use the same ones. Yeah, Eric, but they are in the hobby, so why is it so hard to find this information? I can't even find. I've looked. I can't find that information. You may have it because you have a little more resources than I do, and you know where the things are. But the common person in the hobby can't go and go, okay, I want AVIC, and go find the list of them online somewhere and say these are all the avicularas by genus and species, and these ones fall under this. It's not an easy thing to find. And like I said, I'm not trying to bash scientific names. I'm honestly not. Like, I'm just trying to point out the fact that there's an issue with them. And they're getting fixed. I'm not even saying they're not. Scientists are constantly fixing, updating. A published system would be great. If they were all published, it would make things a little easier. Finding a list of things is hard. Things are changing so much that's hard to find a list of even the scientific names. The names, Literally, names in this hobby are a problem. Because, like I said, the scientific names have, like I said, you have all these issues with them. Because you do have issues with them, what you have, and all these problems with trying to look up and find the changes and what changed to what and why it changed. I mean, there's videos made on these for a reason. There's explanations, people trying to explain and help people for a reason, because it's difficult. The common names are all messed up, so they're kind of difficult to use. I've had a lot less difficult than people say, but they're messed up. So we have two names that are difficult and hard to use. How is that not a problem for this hobby? Like, seriously. Like, I don't get how people could say this isn't a problem. Okay, it's a problem. How do you fix it? I'm just throwing out one solution. Standardized common names. I don't know how to make it happen. I'm not going to stand here and say I know how to make something happen. I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying that's starting a conversation. Let's talk about it. That's all. I feel like I'm talking in circles and circles here, but I'm sorry about that. But it seems like the point isn't getting across. At least the tarantula hobby is less confusing than the centipede hobby. That's a much smaller hobby, so I don't get into that. And we're all going to have issues saying the scientific names. They're hard. They're Latin. They don't work the same way. The pronunciations don't work the way we're used to. Pronunciation in the U.S. to the U.K. is actually different. A lot of them, they say them differently. Even when I heard them say, a lot of people that have been in the hobby for a while say them so fast. I don't really know how you said that, but this hobby is about reading if you want to learn about it. What if I don't want... That's my problem. What if I don't want to learn more than just the basic care of what I have? I don't need to get into all the scientific stuff. I don't need to know why the scientific is that way. I don't need to know why they're changing it. I don't need to know all about all that stuff. And obviously I'm not speaking for me because I am learning all that stuff. But I'm just saying there are a lot of people in the hobby and I see them constantly get like berated and put down and all that, and it's an issue. It doesn't even match the description. See, that's how you figure out what you have anyways, is that you look at it, you have to learn that. I mean, like I said, what happens if I go to a vendor and they say that they have a Sturmy out there, they say that it's just because they have the name on there, they say that it's a T Blondie. How do I know it's not a T Blondie? If you don't want to learn your hobby, you need a new hobby. Yeah, that's like the worst argument. That's horrible. I don't need to. You don't tell me to go get a new hobby. I don't have to do the hobby as you want me to do the hobby. Nobody has to do the hobby as you want the hobby, and you don't have the right to tell somebody to get out of it because they don't do it how you want to do it. That's not that's one of the problems that we have. That right there is the comments I see on forum groups that upset people and push people out. Right there. Yeah, you're very late to this stream. Although it's been going on in circles, Indiana Herb, so you'll hear it all again probably. No, they'll literally sit there and like argue like, they say it's not just the language, all that. They'll literally say that it's said differently. Oh yeah, Americans say, you'll see it a lot of times on the UK streams. Like they'll say, oh yeah, well the Americans say it that way. I mean, I don't know why we say it differently. I don't know if it's accent maybe or something like that. I mean, maybe that's what you were talking about, a different language, but we say things differently, which I find interesting. I know you were talking to me. Because, Kat, what if I just want to get in there and get tarantulas? I don't want to learn more about it. I don't want to learn the parts of it. I just need to get my pets. And I need to learn their care. And that is it. And I know that wasn't at me. I was stating that as a general term. It's not a good thing to say. Don't tell people if you don't want to do the hobby my way, get out. You shouldn't be here. I'm not angry. Do I even sound angry to people out there? I'm sorry if I sound angry. I'm not. No, this hobby is definitely not for everyone, but there are a lot of people that want to get into it, try getting into it, and get pushed out. Yeah, I didn't even take that as a personal thing to me. I was just saying that that's not a good thing to say. I'm not even that excited about it. Like, I get into yeah, I get into debates a lot. I actually get into the debate. It's not like I'm getting upset by anything. Thank you. 1 second here. You gotta mute for a second. Sorry about that. My kid's coming out. I've been out here a little too long, and he wants me to go do some stuff. Um. Yeah, yeah, I'm not angry at all. Like nobody's upsetting me with any of this stuff. Gatekeeper Dave. Let's not get into the whole personal stuff again. Anyway, Tennessee, we started getting back into the actual conversation. I'd rather be in the conversation, or I gotta go because, like I said, my kid. Um, like I said I have not heard in this whole chat. There's 50 people here. I don't know how many people have been watching this. How many people have come and gone. Not one person has given a solution other than say they don't think it's a problem. Yet we all know common names is a problem. Timed him out because he was just spreading drama type of stuff. Like we're kind of done with the whole arguing about personal attacks and stuff like that. We just, Dave, you're not elitist or a gatekeeper. You've done nothing but help me from the start when I first got into this hobby 4 years ago. Totally getting out of line. Yeah, I kind of agree. Actually, yeah, we could agree to disagree on that because, like I said, yeah, Davis helped me with some stuff. He's answered a bunch of my questions at the same time that he's done other stuff. So, but like I said, this isn't all personal shit. I want to just talk about the common name stuff. There's this one guy on Discord who has literally DM'd my friends and told them not to take my advice on inverts because he says I know nothing and I don't use scientific names. Yeah, people think if you don't use scientific names, you don't know anything. You must not know anything in the hobby. You haven't learned anything about spiders and tarantulas because you're not doing the hobby as they want you to. You must not know anything because you don't know that name. I know exactly how to care for it. I may know what country it comes from. Everything about that. I don't need to know a scientific name for that. You just want people to argue with you. No, I want people to give me a good answer. Like people have been arguing with me constantly about this, and I'm not here for an argument. I'm here to somebody to explain to me how I'm wrong on this, and nobody has yet. So, Hobby-wide standardized index would offer something to refer everyone to. Yeah, it would. I mean, even talking scientific names. Like if you could get an index that was updated all the time, that had like everything on there that's been in the hobby, so I could look up like these things and see what they were. So like I could look up the Avix that lost her name and go, okay, look under this and go over there and go, okay, it's under Avic as this morph type. You know, if there was a list like that, it'd be really helpful, scientific name wise. For catfish, okay, you're way more into this scientific stuff than I am, man. So I'm a hobbyist. Like I'm just in this hobby. I enjoy the hobby. That's it. I think I should probably go ahead and end this about now because it's just kind of going round and around. Most of the people that want to come in and debate me on this are gone, so. Bye, Dappy, because I'm about to end this anyways. I want to say thank you to Sarah and Jax for modding it. As long as Jax was here, she had to go early. Sorry for the drama type stuff that got in here and the personal attack type of stuff. I wanted to keep that out of here, but it's kind of hard when the stuff that's been going on. I don't need to know scientific names to breed. I just don't. I know. You shouldn't be breeding by scientific name or common name. Because as I said, I could sell you a T Blondie that's actually a T Sturmy. Because I want to make more money off it. And if you don't know how to tell the difference between them, you're going to try to breed a Sturmy with a Blondie. Because you're going to get the female or the male of that. And that's going to be a problem. So that you're already, if you're using names for that, you're probably already doing something wrong. You should, at that point, be able to distinguish what you have by looking at it, by the details. You may have to look that stuff up and get into the hobby more, as I said. If you're trying to go from just a hobbyist to a breeder, you're stepping up your game a bit. You're going to have to know more. Obviously. But like I said, just say that, oh, I know what these scientific names are, so I can breed them. People sell things by the wrong scientific name, too. So I'm saying you can't. Okay, okay. You see my point. That's my point. And if I wanted to get into breeding, I'm damn well going to know what I have. I mean, just think, what if I wanted to breed Avix and I got 2 of them? They're all just sold as Avic now. There's so many that come in of the things that they don't even know what they are at the vendor. They get them imported and they're not sure what they even have. The one I had, the guy actually told me he thinks it is a hybrid. He doesn't think it is a Morph Type 6. He doesn't think it's a standard Avic. He thinks it's some sort of hybrid, and several people at the convention center agreed with him. I think so. So what do I have? Hence you cross-reference the species description with the less distinct species. Okay. Your good points. Don't worry about that, Kate. Girl, she's just. Okay. I'm still gonna ban you on that because I don't want no drama in here, no name calling, and that's either way. So, timeout. Agree with me. Don't want that in here. Sorry. It looks like it may be. I think so. So you're saying that just go by scientific name because that's what you were told it was when you brought it? Buying from reputable vendors is a good way to make sure of that. But say I go to an expo and I buy something, especially the big one that keeps coming up is the Goliath. So say I buy a T Blondie and I get a T Sturmy. And I don't look up the difference. I don't start trying to research. I don't ask anybody the difference. And I try to breed it because I'm told I have this by scientific name. Like, does it... Scientific names don't help. I mean, they don't, you know what I mean. Oh, so, okay, Dave, explain to me how you would do it then. You can't breed by name alone. I mean, jeez. I think you may have hybrids, and as Dave pointed out, maybe the B Vegas is not pure because it has red hairs. Yeah, I mean, there is. I'm sure there's hybrids already in there because of issues going on with the names issues. That's what I'm trying to say. The names issues all around is a problem. So I mean, I'm sure. No, it was just it was a timeout thingy. I didn't do it anyway. But that's my argument, though, okay? So, and I'm not trying to... This isn't supposed to be a discussion about bashing in any way on scientific names. But, so say you're using scientific names. They are right now the preferred way. And I'm not arguing that in any way, shape, or form. They are the preferred way and the better way to know what you have right now. Okay, I'm not arguing that. I'm just... My argument is that standard names are a problem need to be fixed. But that's not it. So if you go to breed two tarantulas that you have, how do you know whether they're the right ones? Just by name because you brought them that way? Or no? Or do you know? If you know the look and the breed, all you're doing is tying that back to the name, correct? So you're making sure you have the right name. And I will concede that right now, scientific names are what you have to go by. It's the standard in the hobby. So you're going by scientific names, which is correct right now, and I'm not arguing with that in any way. And so what you're doing is you're still having, if you want to breed, you have to go to the next level and make sure you know you have to know the name and the looks to breed. So you have to apparently make sure you have the right name. I'm saying that you can't just go by the name. That was my only point, and I'm not even arguing. They said that's not a scientific name, common name issue. That's just if you're breeding, you should make sure that what you have is what you have. No, actually, if you scroll up, it's Sarah timed you out. I didn't. The only person I timed out was the person who said something bad about Cat because I'm not gonna have it either way. I'm not. I don't want the drama and. Well, good job. I'm not breeding. I'm just saying this is. Dude, there's so many problems in this hobby with names. Like there's just. I mean, even the scientific names, and I'm not even trying to bash on them, but I mean, it's this whole hobby the way it's set up. I mean, even the person who got it could have got it by the wrong name and not even knowing selling it to you. I'm not even trying to say people somewhere. It happens in this hobby. Like, even me, with the little experience I have, I've gone into expos and looked at something and been like, that's not right. Like I could tell by looking at that is not what you have labeled on there. And I'm not, and I walk by. I'm not gonna sit there and argue with the vendor. Like it's not going to do me any good to argue with the vendor. If you have a bee Bohemi and you want to breed and you buy a Bohemi and it's actually Amelia and you can't just breed them because the name's the same, is what he's saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You have to know the difference by looks. You have to look it up and know what you have. But that was back to Spider Woman's question about breeding them. So that wasn't even really on the common name topic. Okay, does anybody have any more, something they want to talk about before I end this? I never meant to go this long, and I never meant to get to the point where drama came up either. I was trying to avoid that, and so. If anybody has something, a point they want to bring up or want to ask me about, what am I thinking on this? I know there's a 10-minute delay, so I want to give everybody a chance to. I brought my. I can't even say that. Bohemi. I'm so bad at saying them. I know them by looks mostly now, by the scientific name, but I can't say them. It's so much easier to type them out and use them that way. And it was the wrong name. It was labeled red leg, then it was actually a fire leg. Yeah, I mean, there is a problem with that. Especially with those two. I mean, they are set. Like the red leg, I believe, is the Amelia. The red leg's the Amelia, and the fire leg is the Bohemi. It's supposed to be, but people screw them up all the time because there's such an issue with common names. Bomi, as far as okay, Bo. Like I said, I can know a lot of them by looking. I can't say them. I'm getting up to the point where I can recognize a lot of them, and I know about what the tarantula looks like by the name, but I still can't say a lot of them. It's hard to do with this till you hear people saying it. And I don't spend a lot of time with other tea keepers. Just some expos. Hey, Channy. I think I seen you here early. I didn't say hello to you, so hello, Channy. Okay, well, no more questions are coming in. So, wait a second. I've had many that are not what they meant. Yeah, like I said, I'm not defending common names right now. That's my goal. I completely concede that there's a lot of issues with common names right now, and that's what I'm saying. It's just kind of a problem, and I see this as a solution. I see that it has something that has worked as a solution in another pet hobby that has roughly the same criteria we do that we use, the same problems, the same issues. Hey, Chan. Oh, not much. We're just having a discussion that's a pretty hot topic. You may have to go back and watch it. I'm not. I don't want to go back over for like the 15th time. That's why I prefer to say common names, but I do use when I'm looking up and doing anything. I tend to use the scientific because at the moment that's the standard. Common names to be fixed. They need to be standardized. How do we do this? We aren't sure yet. Yeah. Channy, my basic point of this whole thing is, Channy, just as you said, is that common names are a problem. We all know they are a problem. How do you fix said problem in our hobby? It's our hobby. We should care about it. We should want to fix problems. How do you fix it? The only solutions that have been put out is to educate people, tell people they shouldn't do it. Okay, that's not working. It hasn't worked for, as we already said, 60 years now. This has been a hobby. Hasn't worked. So if it's not working, obviously we need to try something new. So the only thing, my solution for it is, and that's what my argument always is that the only way to fix the common name problem that is a problem in the hobby is to standardize them, to make them set one name per tarantula by species. And that's the only way I see to fix it. So it's not a fix-all. I'm not going to say it's perfect. I'm not going to say it'll fix everything. I'm saying it's the best fix that we have. I don't know how to implement it. No clue. My point is just that is the only solution I see to the problem. So that would catch you up to what I was saying. And I don't have a problem with scientific names. I think that they have a point in use. My problem is that sometimes you can't fix stupid. That's probably the best argument I've seen all night for this. You know what? Maybe you can't fix it. Maybe you're right, Shane. Maybe you cannot standardize it. Maybe that's a problem. Okay, if it's not possible, it's not possible. What is the solution? I just kind of I'm not putting my solution out there as like this is the end all be all. This fixes it. Do it. I just kind of want to get the conversation going. Let's talk about it. If you think you can't fix stupid, if you can't get these names all to be used, common names for tarantula, and get them working, is there another solution to fix the common name problem? Is there a way to get people to stop using them completely? Is that possible? Is there some way we haven't tried? Education isn't working. Harassing people isn't working. None of that works. We've seen it in there. All that does is pretty much drive people out of the hobby and make this a non-fun place to be. Okay, I agree with that. So where could you... Maybe there isn't one, area arachnids. Maybe that's possible. There isn't a solution to this at all. But this means we can't talk about it. Someone make a common name list and publicize it that people follow suit. Who? That's whatever. I've said that, and people said who. I said the only organization large enough right now to publish a list for that to fix this problem would be the British Tarantula Society. They're the only group. I'm not even talking about America. Like everybody says, like, oh, America's no. If they're probably the only group big enough, because obviously, the American Tarantula Society is pretty much dead. It doesn't exist pretty much. I'm sure they're there, but I don't know if they do anything. The other solution is, as I said, stop fighting it. Stop working with people to fix them. Fighting it isn't helping. Telling people not to use them isn't helping. As you fight it, you're just making it more chaotic. If you accept it, if we start accepting it and start working with people, it would start standardizing them. It would work a little better. I'm pretty sure the BTS put out a list, people would just start using it, like because they're a big enough organization. Um, yeah, Dave, I haven't said that I know all the answers to it. I'm just putting this out as a conversation, and yeah, they don't use common names. You're right. Over there, they use them a lot less because they've been a little deeper into this hobby, I think. Um, but they do have common names. It's over there is a problem. I've heard them say that it's a problem. So I mean, they do have the issue over there. It's not like it doesn't exist. Um, but no, I agree. I don't think the BTS will ever be the people to do it. They're not going to. If they did, if they somebody with them was trying to push it and they started doing that, it would put a list out. It would start fixing it. Everybody would be like, oh well, I'll just go to this list and look. I'll go to this list and look. It's not that hard. That would be very easy because you have a list of all the scientific and all the common names right there together, and it would work. It's probably not going to happen though, as much as I would like that to happen. Um, so like I said, I don't know how to get that list out there to work. The only thing I say is to stop fighting common names and start working with people on them. If people say that, oh, I got a straight knee, and be like, oh, do you mean this? And they look up, go, oh yeah, that's it. And they're like, okay, well that is usually called the Costa Rican straight knee because there are several of them, and that's its common name. And okay, and they'll start. You just start working with that. Um, would that be easy? No. Would people fight on both sides? Yes, because people are like here. They don't want to use common names, and they're not going to go with it, and they're going to fight it. And there's people that want common names that don't want side. So there's a big tug of war in the hobby, and it's not helping anybody. So that is the problem. That's where, as I said, I came up with this. Like this is my thinking. This is my opinion. This would fix it. How do you implement it? I don't know. I just like I said, let's talk about it. Maybe other people. Maybe I throw that out there. We're talking about somebody else comes up with a better idea. Maybe somebody comes up with a better way to implement it, a better way to get it going. Maybe instead of, like I said, education, there's another way to get people to stop using it somehow. I don't know. If you could just get people to stop using common names and we all just went by the scientific names, that works too. They're a pain. I mean, they're hard to say, but it works. But that is, like, we have two different sets of names. One of them isn't standardized at all. The other one keeps changing on us, and it's really not helping this hobby. That's all I'm kind of getting out there. Okay, I'm going to end it on that because we've been here long enough. I've been going round and round. I usually don't stream nearly this long. I usually stop at about an hour, and I think this is going on to almost 2. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening and talking and replying in chat. I've actually had a pretty good time. I know people think that I'm upset or angry. I'm not. I may sound excited. I apologize if I do sound upset. I actually had a good time talking about this. And somebody make you accidentally cuss while trying to pronounce them. Honestly, just let people call them what they want to call them. People aren't going to want to change their ways and how them. Yeah, I agree. People aren't going to want. Getting people to change anything is hard. Getting people that are so used to using scientific names to agree that common names need to be, fixed is going to have a hard time. And the other way is the same way. People don't want to change. I understand that. I'm not saying that this is a perfect solution. I'm just saying that it's worth talking about. And with that, I'm going to end it. Like I said, everybody, good night. Thank you for showing up. I apologize for the drama stuff that happened in the stream. I just want to put that out there. And hopefully we can continue talking about this rationally. And after this, and if we don't agree, we can shake hands and still be friends and still just agree to disagree. And with that, I'm going to say good night.